Hello, welcome to MoneyWiseAlpha.com, your financial freedom guide. I'm your host, Christian John Salas, the founder. Today, we're going to discuss how Bitcoin prevents inflation. So here's a money printing press, right? The people that control the creation of money are more powerful than the politicians. Now, for you or I to gain these pieces of paper, we usually have to work hard for some type of job, right? Spending a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But the people who control these machines, the central bankers, they have the power to create unlimited amounts of currency. So that makes them even more than politicians, whether they're elected or unelected. Now, paper currencies are no different than monopoly money. Now, have you ever wondered, for example, why the buying power of a US $100 bill is 100 times greater than a US $1 bill? I mean, they're created on the same pieces of paper, right? I mean, okay, the color's different slightly, the design is a little different, but if the main difference really is just there's a higher number on the $100 bill. Now, if this were the case, why don't you just put an arbitrary large number on it, like 1,000, 100,000, a million, a trillion, right? Now, paper currencies are no different than monopoly money. Now, in some countries, such as Zimbabwe, inflation got so bad that their central bank eventually started printing $100 trillion bills. Now, can you imagine having $100 trillion and not being able to buy even a loaf of bread or food? I mean, in some cases, hyperinflation can get so bad that this can actually occur. It's happening right now, actually, in Venezuela. So some money was abandoned because we left a gold standard. Right? So what does the number on the central bank represent? I mean, one of what? 100 of what? $100 trillion of what? Well, originally, the central banks worldwide were on a gold standard, so all the printed banknotes, currency, had to be redeemable in gold bullion. So in generations past, you could go to any bank and turn in your paper receipts, your currency, for actual pieces of gold, right? But you can't do that nowadays. Now, after World War II, all the world powers, they got together and they agreed to give the US dollar world reserve currency status, meaning that it will be the default currency used for international trade, on the strict condition that the US dollar maintain a peg to gold, which originally was $35 to 1 ounce of gold. But when the US dollar became world reserve currencies, all currencies of the world became pegged to it instead of gold. But the US government spent a lot more money than it made. So then the President Nixon in 1971 had to close the gold window. So the US dollar was no longer redeemable in gold. So all money from that day on became Fiat Base. So in simple words, the buying power of a fiat currency comes from gunpoint instead of an actual commodity backing such as gold. Now, if 4 people were stranded on a remote island, this is how the banking system would work. Now, fiat basically means let it be by some legal authority, also known as the people who control the guns. Now, say we were in a small remote island and there was only 4 people. Now, initially, everyone was given $1. Now, if you want to buy this pen, which I spent all my hard work on, it would cost you $1 right now. Now, the banker uses his printing press to create another $4 into existence. So if you look at the picture, now the people can no longer afford to buy this pen because they each have $1 each. But the banker who has $5 can afford to buy 2.5 pence. So this is how inflation works. In basic terms, it transfers buying power from the people to the ones creating the money, right? So now, with larger communities and complexity, the compartmentalization make inflation less noticeable. Now, with 4 people, it's very easy to see that the banker is taking advantage of this fiat-based monetary system to dramatically increase his buying power compared to everyone else. But say we were in a larger community of, say, 100 people. If the banker printed $4, the cost of this pen wouldn't be $2. It would just be $1.04, right? And especially it becomes less noticeable if you were to factor in time. Say the banker were to use the printing press over the span of 10 years to print $4. The price of this pen would slowly go up to $1.04 over a 10-year period. So it's not really that big of a deal. It's not noticeable. So this is how inflation works best, in large populations and through long periods of time. Now, a fair exchange of labor is needed in our monetary system again. So if we were 4 people in a remote island, are we just going to let the banker sit on his rear end all day and just print as much money as he wants? Hell no, right? Of course, in order for us to survive, one person is probably going to have to be a fisherman, right? Another person is going to have to be our farmer, and we're probably going to need a hunter that gathers food for us. So the banker, instead of him just sitting on his rear end and printing as much money as he wants, why doesn't he do something much more meaningful, like go mining for precious metals like gold and silver that could be used by the community? See, this is how commodity-based money originally emerged. The miner would go mining for, say, 3 ores of iron, and at the end of the day, he could trade this for 3 fish that a fisherman caught, right? So through the centuries, there have been many attempts of fiat-based currencies ever since the printing press was created. Literally thousands of paper-based money have been attempted. Fiat-based currencies simply just don't stand the test of time. So on average, the lifespan of a fiat-based currency is about 50 years or 2 generations until inflation, then hyperinflation occurs. And so far, it's a 100% failure rate. Because you see, eventually, the government, the people that control the guns, they become greedy and they spend more money than they make. So they can longer back their money with a commodity. So it has to become fiat-based. And then inflation, hyperinflation occurs. So mining Bitcoin allows for a fair exchange of labor in a digital age. Right? Cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin allow for a return to sound monetary system, similar to a commodity-based monetary system. Because just like mining for gold, there's only a limited amount of Bitcoin that can be mined every year, and it's pretty predictable how much you can mine per year, right? And the first Bitcoin was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto after the late 2008 crisis as a repercussion of it. And he was aware of how the current financial system worked, and he wanted to show the world that a monetary-based system that was based on cryptocurrencies, which is decentralized finance, where no one needs to control the creation of currency and the use of currency, can actually work, and it's a feasible monetary system. Right? So mining Bitcoin allows for a fair exchange of labor in a digital age. So there are many benefits offered, such as peer-to-peer payments, complete monetary control, and low fees compared to traditional banks nowadays, for transferring money. Right? However, as of course with all things, there are risks associated with this new type of currency. Right? Nevertheless, cryptocurrencies are here to stay. It's your decision if you want to be one of the early adopters to reap the rewards with using this new type of money paradigm. So thank you for your time. Please like and share and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.